What's up? Starting a couple minutes early. I'm just gonna wait for people to get in here. And I'm doing it today instead of tomorrow, which I usually do these on Fridays because my kids got me sick and I feel like crap and I'm cutting the week short. So. I'm just waiting. Plus they're starting to pave my road outside. I hope it's not too damn loud. Hello everyone. Just taking a look at the chats. Or the chat rather. We'll be doing the usual thing, the Q&A reveal, and this time we only have 3 questions because I cut the week short. And then also the live portfolio review, which you have to join the Discord server. Links in the description. And yeah, when you join, well, I'll go over this in a second. I'm just waiting for more people to get in. We'll start in like maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. Oh man, I feel like crap. Yeah, I can do a logo review. Just submit it while I'm doing this live sometime. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna get started here soon. So let me switch off everything. Cut to that. Get rid of that and bring, let's see here, this up. Sweet. All right. Yes, I am sick, but not because I was looking green. Because my kids got me sick. I have a bad sore throat. You can't really hear it in my voice, but I am run down. That's the worst symptom. All right, so that's why I'm cutting the week short. I didn't have a topic for today. And I'm just doing the live stream today. So as always, within the last 5 weeks, I've been doing this. Basically, why does it keep doing that? On the videos that I upload during the week, I ask a question on them, and then users provide answers, and I just go over the question, my own response to the question, and then I pick out a few of the YouTube comments and I display them here on the screen. Before I get to that though, after we do this real quick Q&A thing, I do a live portfolio review, and the way you set that up is make sure you go to the description here in YouTube, click on the Discord server, join the server. It's just like a chat area that you can do. Go to portfolio submissions and then submit your portfolio right here, and I'll just take them as they come live. All right, so we'll do that after, and I'll just, make sure that it's like a design-based request because I'm not going to review code. All right. Okay, so the very first question we had is how much do you pay for your internet and how fast is it? So I got a ton of responses. There was 130 comments in this particular video from Monday. And so I just kind of wanted to see, what the price of internet was across various, parts of the world. For me, I live in the United States in Ohio, and I pay $60 a month for 100 megs down and 15 megs up. And I was just curious what other people are paying. So let's see here. There we go. So for 500 down and up, I suppose that would mean $20 a month. I would assume $20 US dollars equivalent in Russia, with a backup of 30 down and up for $5 a month. That is insane. So my immediate thought was, well, crap, man. how could it be that cheap for speeds that fast? There's either one of two possible reasons for this. The first possible reason is they have a lot of competition, low government regulation. There's not government-sponsored territorial monopolies granted to the ISPs. And so if there's a lot of competition, then they have to one-up each other naturally. And then that's why the speeds are real fast, yet the price is real low. The other reason is because it would be heavily subsidized by the government. So yeah, if you're only paying $20 a month for 500 up and down, then what do your taxes look like? So it's one of two possible reasons for that, and I'm not sure what it was. So we'll get to. I did a quick research on it. I could be wrong. I found a result. We'll get to this in a second. Another person said 600 down and 50 up for about $60 a month. Now I pay the same amount for 100 down and 15 up. So something correct or something better is happening in Illinois here in the United States. All right, and then 100 down and 100 up for $6 a month in Russia again. What the heck? So I did a search, and why this is on Quora. Why is internet in Russia so cheap and fast while it is expensive and bad in Europe and the US? Now this person says, of course this is anecdotal, this person could be wrong, I don't know, but it says some parts of Russia have horrible internet. Try laying optical cable through the tundra. As for good internet in big cities, the answer is the field has very little regulation and has very competitive, it was very competitive right from the get-go. And as a result, there's next to no local internet monopolies when it comes to large cities, and internet providers are constantly trying to one-up each other, and we're only beginning to regulate their services now more than 20 years in, which sucks because regulation almost always screws everything up. So yeah, the wonders of competition. I'm not sure if this is true. If it is true, awesome. That's always what I thought. The more competition you have, the better it is for everybody, and that's not just for internet service providers. All right, so do I have any more here? This thing is acting up like hell today. All right, so it's $65 a month in Michigan for just 25 megs. That's pretty expensive. So as we can see, it varies quite a bit here. All right, so our second question. Let me take a look at the comments real quick. All right, so the question, I basically received no responses to this, by the way. Have you ever built a SaaS before, which is an acronym for software as a service? And if so, what was it? Now, I can't say, I'm not sure if this would technically qualify as a SaaS, but I did sell a piece of software at a one-time per usage fee called Wisemanner. It's still up, wisemanner.com, where people can build easily build banners using Photoshop with a script and some templates I built, and that did quite well. But if you can get into the recurring, SaaS, recurring revenue model SaaS business, it is absolutely, you can make a ton of money doing it. And nobody answered this question, and maybe that's because, yeah, a lot of people here, they're not, experts. We're still beginners and trying to work our way up to possibly doing something like or building your own SaaS. The next question was from yesterday's video, and I did a video on shape creation tools in Adobe Experience Design, which included the pen tool. So I asked, do you fear or love the pen tool? And for me personally, I've used the pen tool for so long, like 2 decades, that no, it's second nature to me. So obviously, with anything, if you spend enough time with it, you're not going, that fear will either turn neutral or you'll love it. All right, someone said, you actually got me inspired to give the pen tool more of a try. I learned something that has been bugging me for a long time. Thank you. Sweet. You just got to give it a shot, right? And then next, I love the pen tool, and I have a question. What is the use of Adobe Experience Design? Well, very simple. You build user interfaces, be that for mobile apps or actually full desktop apps. That's the purpose of Adobe XD. For a long time, people use Photoshop for that, and people use Photoshop for everything. You can still use Photoshop, but there are better tools out there for it now. Absolutely love the pen tool and all its possibilities. Not that scary tool once you take the time to get familiar with it. Yep, just exactly what I was saying. And then finally, pen tool is a lifestyle. Awesome. Okay, so that is it for the Q&A for this week. So now what I'm going to do is take a look at some of the portfolio submissions that we have here in Slack. Let's see. Yeah, so BJ Akin, or whatever your name is, a time ago I submitted my design site in Discord. Could you take a look at it? Make sure you submit it right now, because I'm not going to be scrolling up days back. So make sure, if you guys want me to review your portfolio, make sure you submit it here in this portfolio submissions Discord server. All right, so go ahead and start submitting. I'm going to scroll up because we did have a few that were submitted not while the live stream was on. Let me do the one right here that was just submitted, because technically I like these submissions to occur when I'm doing the live stream, and then I'll get back to some of the ones at the top. Actually 1031, this was already submitted, so I'm going to open that. All right, so I'm going to open this one here. All right. Oh, let me get that thing off there. There we go. All right, so the very first thing, I like this this image for its hero section. It works well. Yeah, it's kind of the perfect type of image to use if you're trying to feature something in the middle, but you want to photograph in an interesting sort of aesthetic. The one problem here is this is not enough contrast, so it's kind of hard to see, especially with these lines here in the back. So I would definitely try to change this up in such a way that you can much more easier, read it. If you're gonna go black, that would be better. I'm not sure if white would be the right approach. But as it stands with the background, maybe the background could be faded out a little bit so that you could see the stuff in the foreground even more so. So my child is being loud outside the door. Hopefully no one hears that. Let's see here. We could change the opacity possibly. I would just change the opacity and make this more of a watermark type background. All right, coming down here. All right. There's a ton of white space right here. I would probably limit it a little bit more, just because, I love white space, but there is such thing as too much. All right, overall, everything's easy to read though, and easy to see, with exception to this part up here, which if I refresh by default, this is what that looked like. I would definitely probably make this a little bit larger, push it down a tad bit, make it more easy to read. This I would change into cursor pointer so that people know they can click on it. And yeah, you're getting a lot right though. So there's more right than what's wrong than what's occurring here. All right, let's check out another one. All right. Everything's showing up on my other monitor because it has to be a pain in the ass. All right. All right, we got an interesting sort of hover-based skew occurring here. All right, what do I think about this? Once again, things are getting a little bit too, well, I can't say once again, but with this hero section, things are getting a little bit too cluttered, I would say. With the type here, the web application developer, and then all the lines behind it. I would either simplify this image, or I would decrease or increase the contrast between the foreground elements and the background. And you could do that in a variety of ways. You can put like a container around, you know, each of these individual chat or text blips, or make this opacity of the background to kind of fade out a little bit more. The navigation, I would definitely try to maybe encase this in some type of, well, maybe not put a container around it, but it really feels like it was just slapped on there without much thought. So I would definitely separate them out from each other more because they're pretty close together. Also, I would probably also, yeah, definitely put a container around it, because if you're hovering like this makes it hard to read because you have that background element going through the center. So I would put maybe just a complete vertical bar at the top separating itself from this stuff that's happening right here. All right, so I would definitely rework this area, try to structure the content a little bit more. Everything's kind of just really, I can't say condensed, but there's not much structure, especially with all the type that's occurring here. Put a lot more white space between these areas, and possibly rework this font right here. It's kind of hard to read at first glance. Yeah, I would definitely change this. Just stick to this type of font, and then it'll be more consistent. And once again, I would really try to, because everything just seems to be thrown out here, and there's not much organization. So I would try to just take a look at other existing landing pages and from the different landing page inspirations and gallery sites that exist, and you'll see that if you compare, you know, this type of section of a landing page where you have features and feature sections, it'll be much easier to read in a more polished design, and you'll hopefully understand what it is that you're doing wrong. But everything's really cluttered and pushed together here. There's not much what's called, as I'm always talking about, visual hierarchy. These are better. I like this section much better than the previous section because we have this nice card base layout. It could still use a little bit of improvement in terms of like how these are laid out. Maybe push it down a little bit more from the top, but still a lot better than the stuff that I've seen above in this area. All right, so just work with the type a little bit and work with trying to organize this section right here. Very cluttered. And this section. All right, so thanks for that. All right, somebody wants me to review actually before I get, sorry, I'm just looking at the chat here. Before I get to the other ones, somebody did submit one, where is it at? Oh yeah, right here, this person, Swift, because they had to leave or something. So I'll check out this one, and then we'll go up here. Where am I at? There we go. So this is a Dribbble portfolio. All right, so I'll just take a look at the first one. Overall, very solid from what I'm seeing here. Unfortunately, I wish I could see like the full version, but it looks pretty good from what I'm seeing. A good contrast. Things are separated well. Good white space. Good call to action button that really stands out. Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard for me to get in there and really see because it's already pixelated. But it looks solid from what I see here. We have a logo design here. Birdie apps. Not bad. Pretty solid right here. Oh, I remember Flabby. That's from 2016. This was a, I think this was a logo design challenge. I'm not sure. I don't know why that looks so familiar. And we'll check out one more. This is solid for, the hero section of a landing page. These are a little bit spread out, a little bit too far, but that's nothing really. Yeah, this looks pretty solid, definitely. Good work. Let's go back. Hey Gary, can you review my first ever logo? I just designed this 8 hours ago after I saw your video about the pen tool, and I've always avoided it because I had a lot of trouble with it in the past, but after watching your video I decided to give it a try and designed my first logo. Alright, so wonder if I can copy this and view this more on a white background. If it seems like it was probably meant to be designed or viewed on a white background. Of course it's gonna make it black. Alright, this is irritating me. 1 second here. I'm going to try to open this up in Photoshop. Alright, so I'm going to make the background white real quick. Alright, 1 second. Image canvas size. I'll go to like the 20 and 12. Alright. Okay, so this is going to be a logo design review. First of all, I would definitely get rid of this single drop shadow that you have here because it really just clutters everything quite a bit. So it'll simplify everything. I mean, you can have shadows in logo designs if they're executed correctly, and this definitely isn't. So if I take, let's see, the magic wand tool real quick, so I can just select that portion that's this gray stuff. Get the right layer selected. I need to increase this to 5. Why is it not selecting this? I guess it's not all the same color. That's fine though. Just get rid of that. Already it's a big improvement from what we had. If we're if we're talking about simplicity, because if I bring this back, that is definitely much more cluttered than what we had. Outside of that, the color, I would definitely not mix this gradient here, and more often than not, try not to integrate gradients too much into logo designs. If you do, it has to be done correctly, and this is kind of going to an unsavory sort of brownish, almost pukey color, I would say. And then also when it comes to symbolism, I would try to avoid you know, overlapping or underlapping elements of the logo design with the type or the word mark portion of the logo. And also one big issue is you need to try to smooth out these Bezier curves even more. You could see that they're just kind of rough. You could tell it just points out right here, and it's not real smooth. If you go to different logo design gallery sites, there's a lot of them like logopon.com and even Dribbble and Behance. Try to find certain logo designs that have Bezier curves in them, and you'll see they're almost based on perfect angled circles and ellipses. This is a little bit too just shaky in my opinion. So definitely keep on working on it. If it's your first logo design ever, trust me, I've seen much worse. So just keep working on it, emulate different styles to help yourself get better. For when you really do real projects, it'll really seep in a lot more. All right. Go back here. We'll do Cupin Systems or Cupin Systems. I have no clue. Oh, and if somebody wants to give me a super chat, I'll spend a little bit more time on your I know I'm being a whore for money right now. Spend a little bit more time on your review. Okay, checking this one out. All right. Did this user say anything else about this project? No. First of all, I'm on the topic of logo designs. If this is your company and you design a logo, I would try to get away from the whole the arc thing, because it's a symbol that has been done a million times over, so it's not unique. And obviously, when it comes to symbolism and logo design and identity design, you want your marks to be unique. As for the UI design, the layout, what I see so far is pretty solid. It's simple, but it's very solid. I can easily see a well-structured navigation right here. That's a little strange how that kind of just falls off to the side and down. But still, relative, it would be easy to use. Sometimes you could do other stuff like convert this into an X and then have it actually be inside of the search field over here. But that's still okay. This section is good as far as I can see. Nothing's majorly wrong with it. If you hover over it though, I wouldn't make it black because it makes it almost disappear. Maybe just even lighten up the thing or make it bold. All right, now definitely a big issue here. When we're talking about white space and padding inside of this container, we can see that there's very little padding up here, but there's a good amount right there. So that creates an issue of inconsistency. You want there to be consistent white space or padding on the top and the bottom container, so that, and this is definitely way too little. You want a lot more so like this. Also, when you have two columns, I talked about this last week. When you have two columns of content, don't center your type-based elements in here in either of the columns. It always just throws it off, and it'll start looking a lot better if we remove this text align center, and now it looks a lot better just from the standpoint of adjusting this. Again, same thing here. Seems to be less white space here and more down here. Make those equal. As for the rest of it, I would probably make this a little bit smaller or separate them out because it's a little bit cluttered right here. A lot of stuff is happening and it's kind of making it run together. It's not bad though. Yeah, again, you just need to separate these different contents, these sections of containers out with each other. All right, pretty solid otherwise though. Thanks for that. All right, so this is from Mighty One. There will be no live stream tomorrow, not from what I can see. I'm sick right now, and I feel like crap. All right, let's check this one out. All right, this is pretty solid so far in terms of being unique. It's probably the best that I've seen so far. We got smiling clouds in the background. All right, mean stack developer, cool stuff. Yeah, solid so far from what I can see. These are good, the hovers. All right, and see, this is a lot better in terms of, you know, sectioning off this container in terms of white space from the top and bottom. Come down here. Yeah, well, this one, the only thing that's really sticking out is this message me. I would make the mail icon and the type white by default, because it's hidden right now. There's not enough contrast. But really, that's one of the only things I see that's kind of coming out. I do see these little indicators, like you could swipe between different pages, but I don't see where that's happening. Maybe it's not done yet. I would try to structure these a little bit more consistently. You have things like left align over here with an icon. This is left align without an icon. Maybe you're still working on this. I would probably maybe even try to reverse them. So you have one here, put the icon over here, and then the type over here, and so on. I would change this up as well. And it's quite hard to read this text because it's a lighter background. Overall, quite solid though. Where am I going? Next one. All right. This looks a little bit more of a dated type of portfolio page. The navigation here, I would definitely rework that. Try to get it up into the actual header over here, because right now it kind of gets lost right here in this manner. So I would work this up into there, and you need a little bit more structure. It's like we have this black part container right here, and it just feels very component based. So I would yeah, just work on kind of restructuring this. I would definitely go to landing page galleries and maybe even go to Dribbble, type in Dribbble or Behance and type in portfolio landing pages, get a more solid idea of what's happening in terms of modern trends. All right, thanks for that. All right. Updated version. All right, I saw this one earlier, I think. All right, so this is a GIF. Yeah, I wish I didn't have a GIF version of it, so I could control it myself. Yeah, this isn't bad. Let me refresh. This part's real solid. I like this over here. Nothing too wrong is really occurring in my opinion. This I would maybe restructure and because it seems like it's just thrown here in an odd position. But if that savvy thing would be kind of like a preloaded thing, if you're including that would be pretty sweet. This part up here, the little symbol kind of gets lost in the background. I would probably reduce the opacity more so and maybe increase the size of the stuff occurring in that middle section, but I can't get there because this is a GIF, unfortunately. Maybe even remove those two horizontal lines because it's just unnecessary clutter when it comes to the type-based stuff. Yeah, in your name. And I would probably increase the size in the name quite a bit more and just reinforce that section. Cool stuff though otherwise. Great in WordPress, currently in the works of in HTML, CSS. All right, we'll open this one. Okay, so this is a WordPress site. Very simple. Again, I would decrease the opacity of this. It's still a little bit hard to see this. Let me see if I can do it real quick. Where's the actual image? Because it's WordPress, there's like a million different divs. So I may not even try to do this. Yeah, I would definitely. I don't like WordPress. I stepped away from it a long time ago. Yeah, there's a million different divs. I can't find exactly where I would even modify that. But outside of that, I would definitely increase the contrast of the foreground elements. Other than that, it's very simple and works well. All right, this is pretty solid. All right, I have a position fix. This works well. Yeah, there's nothing really too wrong. These are separated nicely. I was finding last week a lot of people had their portfolios and they were really stuck together in terms of their thumbnails. Everything was just like a big mess. But separating them out like this is pretty decent. So yeah, nothing too bad I see is happening here. Everything is pretty much easy to read, and it's laid out quite well. Cool stuff. Let me get this out of here. All right, now this needs quite a bit of work. Right here, you need to completely rework that. I know you're trying to be unique probably and do some type of coding thing for your identity, but definitely simplify that down into a single cohesive, word marker logo of sorts. Also, the lightness of this blue and the foreground white doesn't contrast enough. The education, work experience, skills, testimonials, contact, those definitely need to be condensed. Make the font smaller, but separate them out in a horizontal fashion, much more so. This type of orange on this blue clashes too much. There's not enough contrast, so it makes it kind of hard to read. And so yeah, the biggest thing I would say for you is to really take a look at what the professionals are doing. Don't copy, but try to understand the style and what's happening in order to improve your overall approach to layout design. So try to stick to being as simple as possible. All right, thanks for that. Where am I at? We'll open this one. Where the hell to go? Oh, I hit copy link. That's why. All right, really simple, and that's fine. I don't know if I'm too much of a fan of the black icons, and they're pretty big, so it's kind of competing for eye space or real estate, if you will, with this stuff up here. So I would make those a lot smaller. Yeah, let's come down here. This is simple enough. Nothing's too wrong is occurring here. Maybe structure this content right here a little bit more. Make these parts bold, like front end, languages. That way there's a clear separation of the important elements right there. Projects. That's not bad. Maybe try to separate this content a little bit more, because we have 4 different things happening on a row by row basis. We have this. I like this the label here. This works well as well. This also works well, but then things really start to get cluttered when we get this part. We got these real close to it, and this is real close to it up here. So if we just try to separate these out more, that's a little bit better, just having margin 32 on all sides of it. Maybe even more than that, like 50. Now it's separated a little bit better. But yeah, overall it's simple. You can understand most of the stuff quite easily. Good stuff. Open link here. All right, work with excellence. All right, simple again. Although this up here gets lost, I would wrap a container around it or make them bold. Just try to increase the contrast in some manner. This needs to be brought up a little bit in terms of contrast. I mean, quite a bit hard for somebody, especially with crappy eyesight, to read exactly what's happening here. I would probably also cut down on the amount of words that are emphasized through blue, because it clutters it quite a bit. Our projects, you need to push this away from that container more. Look, we have this much white space over here, but right here at the top, you have very little, so it's inconsistent and just smashed up at the top, so push that down. This looks to be kind of solid, but things are running together. It seems like there should be, up here there's good separation of your elements, of your content, but then when we get down to here, we have this big empty space. It feels like it should be like a different container where maybe it's white down here. We have a containing element right here, which works. And this form kind of needs to stick out, and it needs to be separated from the background more. You can barely see it. This makes more sense. I would do this by default without having to select them. At least it would stand out a little bit more. All right, overall pretty good though. Where am I at? Okay. It is 40 minutes in so far. All right, so dmcreative.co. All right. Menu. I'd make the menu a little bit bigger. These elements stick out, at least on desktop view. And it seems like your content's a little bit too much of an afterthought. I would increase the size of this because you do have a lot of screen real estate on this size of a viewport. This is better. Yeah, so I would just increase the size of these because they're too much, like I said, they're too much of an afterthought. You have all this space. I would definitely increase, get this sucker up over here, like this large practically. And you would still be able to see, this background element and the aesthetic that you have applied to it. Same thing with this. This gets it more, this is a lot better in that sense. But yeah, it's definitely unique, and I do like it and where it could go. All right, where are we at? All right, pretty solid looking. Nice hovers, using the color scheme for that. Their primary color rather. I would separate things out a little bit more, especially on this hero section on a large viewport like this. Because we have these things right here, and look how close these thumbnails are. I would push them down, give that top section up here more room to breathe. This isn't bad. This is pretty good, card based. These may be a little bit too small, the descriptions. Make them a little bit larger, or increase the contrast by changing the color. And this isn't bad. Pretty solid though otherwise, looking at this. All right, and then well, where was I at? All right, open this one. Website coming soon. Not much for me to look at here, man. Where was I just at? Was it safety? I can't remember anything. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. It was this one that was website coming soon, right? I don't know what I was looking at. Whatever. Retrobox. Hopefully I didn't skip anybody. I'm sick, by the way. I feel like going to sleep right now. All right. So, Retrobox. Okay. I would get rid of this bar right here. This bar right here with this black drop shadow. I would just, you are here home. Wonder if I can just go into the HTML and delete the whole damn thing. There we go. I like that better. It simplifies everything a lot more. Plus it was just social media links. I would put that somewhere else. Because you already have a top bar up here, then you got a bar here, and then you got a bar here. This is better in my opinion. Maybe make these buttons stand out a little bit more, make them a little bit larger, maybe push them down a little bit more from this part. Otherwise, it's pretty good. And then, yeah, get rid of the drop shadows up here because this, and plus there's an unnecessary white bar. You're just adding more elements that are necessary. So I just cut that out and completely. Maybe wrap some type of stroke around these vertical, or these icons right here. Make it the color of the background or something. Type custom. Trying to find. Yeah, just put a stroke around it that's the same color. That way it separates itself from the white containers right there, because it clashes right there. So put like a stroke around it, and it'll encase those elements a lot better. Let me close this. And we have a video coming soon. Can't really critique that. Yeah, this is a little bit better. Yeah, and again, yeah, overall solid though. Getting more right than you are wrong. Lemon Party, that's a good one. Open link. I would decrease the size of the logo so it's not so smashed up close against the top bar up here. And then your navigation looks like you almost centered it, but we can see content's coming all the way out here to the right, it looks like. So I would move this to the right and away from the logo because it's competing too much with it. Things need scaled down. Everything's really coming up big here. So try to scale things down, give more white space around your elements. This is a little bit better. I would separate them like this by default. They need more space from each other. Not bad though otherwise. There's just small things in terms of white space that you really need to work on and separating things out a little bit more. Good stuff. All right, let's see here. No, I know better than to go to that that link. Let's see here. All right, very simple. Maybe try to put something other than just a black background up here. Maybe some sort of small watermark based photograph or a pattern of some sort. Make this stick out more by default instead of like that. It's too bland in my opinion. Scale down the size of your face a little bit more. It's really big and out there. Not your face, I'm just saying the photograph itself. And look how much little white space you have between this photograph and about the journey. Things are just getting way too cluttered. So that's why I said scale down the photograph a lot more. Typically, I would do this whole circular avatar thing and get rid of the stroke and simplify things. The who am I want to center this, push that to the left, make it larger to separate it from this content right here. If you're going to do like this list style sort of thing, do an unordered list or something, or some type of thing that separates them out or structures them more as a list as opposed to just putting them on their own line. I would put definitely more white space between these elements. I would get rid of the separators, but just spread them out more in terms of, or condense them more in and of themselves so they don't run in together. Yeah, again, more white space up here. Make this larger. Push it down more. Separate out this content because it looks like there's new paragraphs starting here, but there's no space between them. So there's a lot of text here. Yeah, you definitely need to work on trying to your organizational structure when it comes to layouts. And again, just look at what all the pros are doing. That's what I would recommend, so you can get a better idea of how to structure content. I understand it's not easy. Like if you're a coder trying to design or vice versa, it's tough, very tough. What age did I start programming? I started doing AOL Progies, as they're called, back in the late 90s with Visual Basic. I made punters that kicked people offline and really annoying stuff when I was a teenager. But actually, it was valuable learning all that stuff. I'll do one more, and that's it. I'm dead tired. We're at 50 minutes so far. All right, we got the. I knew we would at least probably get one of these. That's different though, because at least the mouse is affecting it. I see a lot of these on the blockchain websites. These backgrounds. Definitely, when it comes to this stuff right here, you can barely see it. Try to separate it out in some manner. You can always put like a little background on the element itself. I mean, let me see. I'm not sure if this is going to work as I envision it. No, it probably won't. Let's see what's in here. Yeah. I see there's an opacity that's being applied to this. But if you could get this background just so it shows up only on, or as like a highlighted portion of this, and make the text black, it would really contrast well with this stuff over here. Let's get rid of that though. Still not bad though. All right, kind of a unusual sort of line right here, and then there's a bunch of space. It seems like this should be pointing down maybe further or something like that, or just move this stuff up a little bit more. This isn't bad though. I like this, how this is all structured out right here. Clear call to action. Nice animations. All right, this is solid. Again, I would kind of rework this over here. This is good. If you're gonna do a hover type of effect, I would make it stand out just a little bit more, because it's barely noticeable about what's happening. Because I could see that there's a kind of like a shadow type thing or a glow occurring. This is solid. Contact Me, I make that stick out a lot more. It's kind of lost right there. Yeah, good stuff. This section, I would definitely make this stick out more, because again, I can barely see where I'm supposed to click. I just see the labels almost, so I would make these the borders stick out more, or encase them in some sort of different container. All right, good stuff, guys. That is it for now. I'm going to be ending it now. I'm sick, so that's why we did it today. Oh, thank you, Yasser. Yes, sir. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name for the super chat. Starting to hate WordPress due to all the divs. Yeah, it's true. Halfway through developing it in HTML. Good. Awesome. Thanks a lot. Yeah, that always helps, guys, when you do the super chat thing. And if I didn't get to your submission or whatever, I will definitely make sure you show up next week. Well, hopefully I'll be able to do the normal day, Friday, and then resubmit it in this chat room, and I'll get to it then. So yeah, like I said, my daughter's got me sick. They go to dance and they bring home illnesses, and I feel like crap, so that's why I didn't do a tutorial today. But that is it. So, all right, guys, make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet to the channel. Also, you can feel free to idle inside of the Discord server. You know, we have, I think, close to 500 people here, and I'm always idling in there. And there's good chats occurring and all that good stuff. All right, I will see you guys later.